Good morning, children. Today, we're going to turn water into wine, meaning we're going to turn out-of-tune vocals into in-tune vocals using Melodyne, taste, and discernment. I was lucky enough to be able to catch Sarah Lieb, an otherwise scarily in-tune singer, being slightly off because she was busy setting up her monitoring system. Here it goes. Let's add Melodyne to the vocal track. Ceremony, Melodyne plugin. Now, before you do anything, think about music, press play, or listen to anything. You must make absolutely sure as to where Melodyne is going to put the files it creates. Melodyne has a tendency to do whatever it likes, and that's fine enough, we're in democracy, but it doesn't work for us because, say it puts the files on an internal drive or on an external audio drive that you may wipe, that's not the same drive as your current session. In 6 months from now, when your singer calls and wants to recall the session for just one note, you will hate yourself. So, the first thing I do every single time I use Melodyne, every time I open the plugin, I make sure that the files are parked in the same folder as my session. To do so, you have to do this. You go into Settings, you have to Move/Record Files to, and then you have to navigate your drive to where your session is going to be. In this case, it's internal audio, Pure Mix sources, might as well be Spring Tuning. And what I do is I create a folder called, you guessed it, Melodyne. Create, choose. Okay. Now I'm in a safe environment. No matter what happens, every single file that Melodyne creates will be in that folder. When you switch songs, if you're tuning several songs at once, you must make sure that it goes into the same folder as the song every single time. I promise it's worth the grief. Second, set yourself up for success. Here's the workflow that I think works best. You can tweak it for yourself, but this is a good basis. If you see the window the way it is right now, it's enormous. I don't need all this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the track I want to tune and a reference track and Melodyne all in the screen. To do so, you go to Preferences, and you enter a user size. In this case, I like the width, but I don't like the height because I want to be able to see the whole height. So I'm going to set up 600, for example, press Enter. For you to see the effects, you have to close the plugin and reopen it. Boom, there you have it. So now you have your ref track, your tune track, and Melodyne. The reason for this is very simple. You cannot locate in Melodyne. You can't click here in Melodyne and Pro Tools won't go there. You can only click in Pro Tools. So now you can have your location area here, and then you always know where you are. And then you have your tuning area here. It works best this way as far as I'm concerned. Then, I strongly urge you to transfer the whole track you want to tune into Melodyne, even if you only plan to tune 1 or 2 notes, for several reasons. First, transferring everything into Melodyne will keep your brain from having to keep track of what's coming from the original Pro Tools track and what's coming from the Melodyne memory. Why does it matter? Because you might find yourself editing one word for 10 minutes, moving it left, moving it right, and wondering why Pro Tools is not playing back what you're doing. Most of the time, the reason why that happens is you tuned that one word in Melodyne last week and forgot. So transfer everything into Melodyne so you won't be able to do that anymore. Second, your singer will ask you to recall this and tune another note next week. It's a guarantee. If you only capture parts of the signal, and your singer wants you to capture, say, the word after the word you just tuned, you may erase what you just did. Might as well just take everything through and not have that problem, because your singer will ask you to tune another note, even if he already asked you to tune another note after he asked you to tune another note. It's a guarantee. Third, transferring everything into Melodyne will force you to capture everything, including opening breaths, closing breaths, and little noises, and make sure that the sound is consistent throughout. At this time, you press play and transfer. But don't just press play. Press play and listen. This is your chance to get a bird's eye view of what needs to be done. Looking at a tuning job note by note is guaranteed doom. If you look at it as note by note thing, what's going to happen is you're going to try and make everything perfect and take all the life out of the music. Turn your singer, no matter who your singer is, into Britney Spears, which is a bad thing to do. The idea here is to listen to it on the emotional level and try and figure out what's in the way. If there's nothing in the way of you enjoying the music, don't tune anything. If something is in the way and kind of yanks you out of the emotion, then that you're going to tune, and only that. So let's listen to Sarah.
I'm restless as a willow in a windstorm. I'm jumpy as a puppet on a string. I'd say I have spring fever when it isn't even spring. I'm starry-eyed and vaguely discontented, like a nightingale without a song to sing. Why should I have spring fever when it isn't even spring?
3 more basic principles. Number 1, don't look, listen. The little cases, boxes that Melodyne lets you put the pitch in is evil. It means nothing. Number 2, don't use pitch or note snap, and don't use the automatic mode. It will fail you miserably repeatedly every time. Number 3, don't tune in solo. Use a pitch reference like the bass or the piano of the song. Why? Because you're not trying to make the vocal perfect. You're trying to make the relationship between the vocal and the band perfect, and that's a much different thing. So the first thing I'm doing always is remove pitch snap. So now I'm on my own like a grown man. I zoom a little bit so I know what I'm doing, and I zoom a little bit this way so I know what I'm doing. Let's listen to the top of the song again. See, I'm able to locate here without having to close the plugin. Here you go. Listen to this.
I'm restless as a willow in a windstorm.
I'm going to play that phrase again. Try and figure out what bothers you there.
I'm restless as a willow in a windstorm.
As far as I'm concerned, the willow is a little approximative and the wind is a little sharp. So the easy one to do is the wind. In Melodyne, all you have to do if you don't have pitch snap is just grab the word and move it to where you want it to be.
I'm restless as a willow in a windstorm.
That's better. As a reminder, this is the way it was.
I'm restless as a willow in a windstorm.
Where am I going to put this pitch? I don't know. I'm going to move it a little bit in the direction that I feel it should go. Listen to it. If I like it, leave it there. If I don't, try something else. What I know is this. Most singers undershoot, even the best singers in the world. Meaning, when they go up, they get a little flat. And when they go down, they get a little sharp, especially for big intervals. Why is that is a different discussion, but that's the way it is. So if I'm going to tune a singer who's good, I'm not going to put that singer exactly on. I'm going to put that singer where that singer would have put it if he had nailed it. And that's not usually exactly on. It's a little under, a little over. Check it out.
I'm restless as a willow in a windstorm.
Let's pick one position for the word wind and listen to it.
I'm restless as a willow in a windstorm.
Too flat.
I'm restless as a willow in a windstorm.
A little more.
I'm restless as a willow in a windstorm.
Oh, I kind of like that. Let's listen again.
I'm restless as a willow in a windstorm.
It's a little sharper still, but here's the problem. It's all about the relationships between the notes. So for example, say you have this nailed, but this is a little bit out of tune. This will never feel good. You're going to want to tune this. And that's the whole problem. Where do you stop? If you start tuning this, then this is going to want to get tuned, then this one's going to want to get tuned, this one is going to want to get tuned, and poof, you're Britney Spears. So you have to use lots of restraint. In this particular case, I think the big problem is willow. The willow is not quite precise enough, and it's the articulation of the phrase. So I'm going to fix willow and see how the rest feels after that. If you look at the word willow here, and I'm going to position.
This is a willow in a windstorm. This is a willow in a windstorm.
She's not quite nailing both notes, and Melodyne thinks it's just one note. This happens all the time. This is how you deal with it. With the multi-tool, you can go right under the waveform here and double-click. If you don't have those skills, you can use the separation tool right here and double-click on the note. It's now 2 separate notes. Switch back to your select tool. You can now move this independently from this, and it's going to sound this way.
There's a willow in a windstorm.
Haha, this brings a new perspective on life. I like to listen to the whole phrase to get the arc of it and not just focus on one note.
I'm restless as a willow in a windstorm.
All of a sudden, wind sounds wrong, so I'm going to move it back up here.
I'm restless as a willow in a windstorm.
That's good enough for me. I'll play it again.
I'm restless as a willow in a windstorm.
Could we massage this more? Yeah. Shall we try way a little higher?
I'm restless as a willow in a windstorm.
Sounds nice. So that's the process. Look at it as a phrase not as a bunch of notes. If you look at it as a bunch of notes, every note is wrong. And you're going to spend 12 hours doing this and end up with Britney. If you look at it as a phrase, she sounds like a lovely singer to me.
I'm restless as a willow in a windstorm.
I'm still not happy with wind.
I'm restless as a willow in a windstorm. I'm jumpy as a puppet on a string. I'd say I have spring fever.
Hear the word have? I'll play that again.
I'm jumpy as a puppet on a string. I'd say I have spring. I'd say I have spring.
I say I have. That's a little flat. That definitely needs love.
I'd say I have spring.
That's too much love. A little less love.
I'd say I have spring.
I was sharp.
I'd say I have spring.
Nice.
I'd say I have spring fever.
Now notice something. Listen to the word have compared to the other words now that we've tuned it. See how it feels in the field. Does it feel louder a little bit, weirdly?
I'd say I have spring fever.
She probably leaned towards the mic. Here's something else we can do in Melodyne that's kind of cool. Melodyne is usually the first plugin in your stack. Of course, dynamic things like this can be done with a compressor. Fair. But what if you could do it pre-compression and basically do some quick manual compression that's non-destructive and sounds good? Check this out. I can use the amplitude tool and just lower the waveform a little bit here.
I'd say I have spring fever.
Much more natural, and I don't need to compress. Now, you don't want to do the whole track like this, but those words that really stick out, that are going to force you to compress a lot, you can take care of in here in a very transparent manner and not have to compress so much. That's a good trick. Melodyne is fantastic because it gives you tools, subtle tools, that let you salvage performances that otherwise will have to be thrown out. Two of those tools seem to confuse people a lot. They are the pitch modulation tool and the pitch drift tool. If your singer hits the pitch, ba, and then goes ba, and there's too much of that vibrato, that's the pitch modulation tool. It's also good for doing ba and fixing too much of a sway there. If your singer hits the pitch, but then kind of drifts and hovers like this, ba, but there's no vibrato involved, that's the pitch drift tool. Drift, pitch drift. The combination of the two lets you fix just about anything. Let me show you. Let's listen to this phrase.
It might as well.
Might as. I think the is a little over.
It might as well.
It's good, but she wouldn't do that. She would do a little less. So you can right click and hit pitch modulation and make it less, like this. Be gentle now.
It might as well.
That's more like her. Of course, you can add it back in or put more in, like this.
It might as well.
Which is in tremendously bad taste. So I'm going to go back where I was before. By the way, in Melodyne, you can always go back to the beginning, reset everything to 0, so you don't have to freak out that you're screwing up the performance. You do that in Edit, Edit Pitch, Reset Pitch Center to Original, Reset Pitch Modulation to Original, and Reset Pitch Drift to Original. So you can always go back to your source material. I like this probably a little less. Pitch modulation, less of it, like this.
It might as well be.
Okay, now listen to the last word, be. There's a lot of stuff going on there. It's going up, it's going down, it's a little in and out. So I'm going to switch to the drift tool and tell it not to drift so much. And it sounds like this. Lovely. Again, with less piano, so you can really focus on the pitch of the singer. This is the original pitch. And this is the pitch with a little bit of the pitch drift action. Much better. So the combination of pitch modulation for this part and pitch drift for this part lets you really get every note where you want it to be, like painting the pitch on. One last thing. You must, absolutely must, no matter what, print your Melodyne work to track. Don't expect the plugin to recall a year from now. This stuff doesn't travel well. Just make it in stone. To do so, I'm going to create a new track. In this case, I need a mono track, audio track, samples. I'm going to call it Mel Lead Vox so that I know this is the printed Melodyne. Create. Make sure I send it to the proper output, which in my case is the sum output. Put it in input and make sure it's getting sound.
I'm restless as a willow in a wind.
All right, so willow is sharp. What was I thinking? That's the other problem with Melodyne. You have to do it in passes. Any tuning with any plugin, you have to do it in passes if you're going to do it with your brain, not with the automatic system. After listening to the same phrase for 5 minutes, you will no longer have any reference. Keep going, go to the end of the song. When you come back at the beginning, you'll have a fresh view on it and you can adjust it. I think willow is too sharp. I'm going to bring it down.
I'm restless as a willow in a windstorm.
And willow can be a little sharper.
I'm restless as a willow in a windstorm.
That's good enough for jazz. So I'm going to go here, put my new track in record, hit record.
I'm restless as a willow in a windstorm. I'm jumpy as a puppet on a string. I'd say I have spring fever when it isn't even spring.
That's it. Now go Melodyne something. Et voilà.